It's hot out there.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. You ready?
Yes, I am.
You sure?
Yes, I am.
All right. Last chance. Here we go.
And now for something special. The unit is self-contained with its own saddler, farrier, wheelwright and so on. It's a rigorous training dished on who know all there is to know about horses, and it brings results.
We take you behind the scenes now to show just some of the interesting aspects of this training.
Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine, the award-winning #1 podcast that creates sounder horses from the ground up. Mike Stine is a registered journeyman farrier with an APF1 accreditation. On this week's show, Talking Terminology, we're going to talk about the Coffin Joint. Also, we're going to discuss some x-rays, so jump on over to YouTube right now, about a 4-month-old colt with possible coffin bone fracture. And also, we're going to talk about head and neck conformation of horses. All this and much more will be discussed here on Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. And over to my far inside is Mike Stine. How are you?
I am doing good, Travis. How are you?
I'm doing well. Well, I know you're doing good now, but I was worried about you
Frostbite.
for getting frostbite this past couple days ago.
Right.
Now, you were involved in, you were out at the community center. Where were you at? I saw the pictures of all the horses and stuff, and you're rinsing them off, and Trisha Dingle.
Center.
No, the Trisha Dingle, not the community center. I might have misspoke on that.
No, I go down to the Humane Society.
That's what I meant to say.
And work on some horses for them about once every 5 or 6 weeks.
Right.
And we're trying to keep from getting frostbite. And
now, you say frostbite. We're sitting here and rounding up the end of June, and we're going into July with a heat index right now of, what'd you say? You just sitting in the parking lot was 102 the other day?
well, I was parked. I had my. There was a maple tree, and I put the truck under the maple tree when we got rid of needing the shop stuff in the back of the truck.
Right.
And I had the windows partly open and all that kind of stuff. And so when I pulled out of there to leave, cranked up to hit the road, the thermometer on the truck said 102.
Jeez. You need to get one of those things from like Ollie's or the TikTok shop. A little portable AC. It's about the size of a GameCube or something like that, if anyone knows what a GameCube is anymore.
That probably air conditioned a large barn, wouldn't it?
You know, it wouldn't. It barely, I think it would be just big enough to, you got AC in your truck though, right?
Right.
Okay, well, I'm saying when you have your truck off, you could probably run that in there, and it just kind of keeps everything cool around you.
I did pick up a little small one-gallon garden mister.
Oh, okay, so that'll work for you. Now, on that post, now you can see this post if you go over to Facebook, search Equine Dynamics Mike Stine. You can see this post as well, and it's a good follow anyways. You, in the post, it said from Trisha Dingle at the South Carolina Humane Society, says that they were rinsing the horses off while you were out there and making sure that the farriers all had water and everything and everyone was hydrated. And then they said something about...
You should spray me in the face.
They love that.
Here's water. You know.
But she said something about putting rubbing alcohol on them.
Yeah.
What does that do?
The rubbing alcohol makes the water evaporate faster.
Okay.
And the evaporation is what cools them down.
Okay, so I had no idea. I mean, you would think that, with all the track stars and running and all the marathons we do here in the United States, just with human people, do they put rubbing alcohol on them? I don't think so. Maybe our skin works a little bit different than the way horses do.
Yeah, I don't know, but she was, I don't know. She was, I don't know. Anyway.
So what have you been doing for the last couple of days outside of helping out the Humane Society down there? I
have been working on horses like always.
Right.
And apparently I've got a sideline business.
A sideline business?
Yeah, I was over.
They call that a side hustle, I believe.
Side hustle. One of my clients brought me lawnmower blades and asked if I would sharpen them.
Sure.
So
why not?
We were done working with the horses. I sharpened lawnmower blades.
Well, that was good. How much you charge?
And I've got some experience with the baling machine too.
Are you charging for that too?
No.
No, you don't charge. You got to charge them for a little side.
I don't know what you charge for lawnmower blades, and
3 of them for maybe $25 or something. Whatever your time is worth, Mike. That's what you can get out of it. If it's lunch for the day, it's lunch for the day. You know, or a 12-pack of water, bottle of water for your cooler for the week. At
the farm, I was asked to do the set of lawnmower blades. Believe me, they fed me lunch plenty of times, so I can sharpen a set of blades for them.
Well, there you go. All right, guys, we got a big show to get into, lots to talk about. And if you're not over on YouTube, don't forget for every podcast we have the full-length video portion of the podcast over on YouTube. Search Equine Dynamics, Mike Stine over on YouTube, and give them a like and subscribe over there. All right, we got a lot to talk about, lots to get into, and we're going to kick it off next. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. Do you like the setup better or no? Well, you don't. It doesn't bother you. Okay.
Sure, great. To make you feel better.
It does.
I like it then.
Because when you open the door, you're not booming right into that couch over there.
I like it.
So
It's
now
so much better.
You got a little dance floor behind me.
Ooh.
You can dance floor.
Ooh, I didn't think of that. I do like it.
You can do the cha-cha-cha.
I'm into break dancing. I knock stuff over.
All right, you ready?
Crash into things.
Here we go.
Yes.
Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. Don't forget, we'd love to hear from you. You can be joining the podcast. You can be part of the podcast. Just go over to equinedynamics.com. At the very top of the page says join the podcast. And you'll see a little orange bar that says leave a message for Mike Stine. You can be anonymous if you want. If you've got a microphone on your device, wherever you're listening to us on or at, speak right into it. Put your email address in there. It comes right to our inbox, and we'll play it on the very next podcast. We broadcast every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, in the little town we like to call Marshville. There you go. And over to my far right side, my very own little town boy is Mike Stine. How are you?
I'm doing good, Travis. How are you doing today?
Doing all right. I got a brand new little AC up here in the studio.
You do.
And it's keeping us nice and cool. I got it set at like 73. It's probably about 77 in here with all the equipment running and the servers and the microphones and all the stuff that generates heat.
I'm surprised you didn't do an ice box with a fan blowing through it. Have you seen those?
I've seen those. I've seen the Home Depot buckets where they put the ice in there and they mount a fan to it and all the different things just to keep you cool this time of year.
Right.
So make sure you're doing that as well. So now we're going to talk about, this is the segment of the show called Talking. It's called Learning How to Talk, Travis. First of all, this is the part of the show, it's called Talking Terminology. And what it is, if you hear like barn talk or you hear your farrier say something, or you hear your trainer or your veterinarian or just people in general spit out a phrase or a word that you might not be aware of what it is, we kind of define it here in the studio. And this week we're going to talk about coffin joint. So Mike uses this term a lot when in the position that he's in. And when we're talking about
I'm sitting down in a chair.
When we talk about coffin joint, what are we actually referring to when someone says, or you're telling a client the coffin joint?
Well, what I'm talking about.
Hold on, Mike. You got to let me know.
Camera.
We have visuals here, and
Visuals.
Make sure you check us out over on YouTube as well, and you can see this in real time. You've got a half severed, freeze dried leg. Okay.
Right.
Make sure you keep it on the black square there, or the black triangle,
On the black.
or the black rectangle.
Yes, on there.
Okay. So what are we looking at here when we talk about the coffin joint?
Okay, the coffin joint. This would be the cross section of the coffin bone. This would be the cross section of your navicular bone, which forms the back part of the joint. And this would be the short pastern bone that goes, if you could see the line of the, like your coronary band here and here, so it sets into the hoof capsule. On a young horse, it will sit higher. On an older horse, sometimes this sits deeper into the hoof capsule. And this was probably a relatively young horse. But this is where you get the articulation of between the coffin joint and the short pastern. That's where your bend at the, it's like this little part of your finger bending.
The tip, the first knuckle right past the fingernail.
And there's a lot of flexion in that joint where the joint above there's not that much movement.
I know, I probably stirred up some dust in here.
Yes, you did. And so that would be the coffin joint. And
so on my handy-dandy cheat sheet here, I've got the definition of a coffin joint. The coffin joint is between the distal phalanx.
Yeah.
Who wrote these big fancy words for me?
Just say hard word and skip to the next thing.
Hard word and the middle P3 or P4. Is that right? Am I saying that right?
P3, P2.
I don't even know why I had the sheet. I can't even pronounce the words that are on here. Or the coffin bone and the short pastern bone.
Right, that's what we're trying to get out.
And is the saddle joint. also known as the distal interphalangeal joint.
Interphalangeal joint.
There you go.
Distal interphalangeal joint.
I couldn't have said it better.
Which actually involves 3 bones: the coffin bone, the navicular bone, and the short pastern.
So if you want to see this, the coffin joint over on our YouTube channel, you can see this. It's half a leg. It's slit right down the middle. And you can see this over on YouTube as well. All right, guys, when we come back, we're going to discuss a 4-month-old colt with possible coffin bone fracture. This is the reason why we bring this up, so you can see exactly what we're talking about. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. If you go over to Facebook, you can subscribe to Mike Stine over on Facebook, and you can see all the different articles and stuff and all the different posters, all the pictures and posts that he does over there on Facebook. And it's very educational over there. He doesn't do silly stuff and post political stuff like all your knockhead friends do. He does everything educational over there, and just to further your education. So just find him over on Equine Dynamics, Mike Stine. You've got 2 pages over there. You got your professional page and your personal page, which is basically one and the same. So if it ends up on one, it'll end up on the other as well. So go over there on Facebook and search Equine Dynamics Mike Stine. You can see this X-ray as well. And over to my far right side, my very own X-ray person is Mike Stine. How are you?
I am doing good, Travis. How are you today?
I wish I had when I was redoing the room here, I wish I had one of those thermal imaging things that show you where the heat comes from.
Right.
And sometimes they have like a fake X-ray thing, like you would see on The Simpsons when Homer Simpson walks in front of the X-ray thing. That's the way I picture you over there sometimes. If I was to look through
fake X-ray.
Yeah, like a fake X-ray. So what are we looking at here? You came across a 4-month-old colt with a possible bone fracture.
Right. This was one of the phone calls that you get asked to at least look at, consider working on, whatever the situation may be. And this was the only X-ray that I saw. And
now, what are we looking at here? What angle is this?
Okay, this is from the top looking down.
Okay.
And I got kind of skyline, and you can see the coffin bone, and I'm not sure what the angle of the shot is. Mm-hmm. But you see the arrow that's drawn on there as to where the fracture they're talking about is.
Okay.
But
is it this all piece right here?
Here's part of the question on it. If you look on the other side in the same area, you see the same piece, right? Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Okay. Now, some of that is the bars of the hoof, and how cleaned up is that? And I was told there were like seven different views of it, and this is the only one that I was sent. And so I'm not clear as to exactly, it's like I'm not even clear what we're dealing with, for one thing, because I need to see some of the other views, and also ask for a consult on it, and they did not want to go that way. Here's the deal with a 4-month-old baby.
First of all, how would it break its coffin joint at 4 months old?
Or the coffin bone itself? Well, it can happen. I have been involved in I know that there was a colt that I dealt with that they had a block barn, and it kicked the block wall.
Okay.
And I don't know how it happened, but this one they know what happened because they were cutting up, and he just drilled the back wall pretty good. And have you ever punched a cinder block?
No, not lately, no.
Well, you should try it just to see what happens.
I'll do it right
into it. Give it everything you got.
Right after the show, I'll run out there and do it.
Right. So, there are things that can happen. Wrong impact on something in the field, romping and stomping and carrying on. There's no telling. But
or Mama could have stepped on him.
Mama could have stepped on it. So anyway, apparently
I think I got a song there, a country song. Mama could have stepped on it. What happened to you? Mama could have stepped on it. Mama. Never mind.
You're good. You're very good. I'm surprised you're here doing this. We're not selling you for concerts.
Sure.
So anyway, first they were like, oh, this is an abscess. Then about a week or so into it, they called a vet. And that's where the x-rays were taken. And
so an infection or something was already starting to form.
Well,
when you say abscess?
Apparently from what, this was from the owner. I got that there wasn't an abscess.
Okay.
Okay. So they shot some x-rays. And like I say, I've only got this one picture to look at. And so there's some things to debate on it a little bit. And there wasn't enough other answers to get clear answers.
Did you ask where the other 6 pictures were? Say, I see this one, but where are the other 7 or the other 6 out of the 7?
And basically, I know this is all you need to look at. And I'm
Okay.
like, yeah, that's not so.
All right.
So anyway, didn't want to do the consult. Haven't seen the other pictures. We've had an abscess, supposedly. So I don't know exactly what the time period is. We got the x-rays. This is a week after the x-rays are shot. This baby is 4 months old and growing fast. And she's like, we've got to do something to fix it. Now, the problem with, she says, we can cast it, or somebody said, and I said, the problem with that is you got to get it off that foot. That foot's changing so fast and expanding so fast. You can create some real problems by doing that. Whereas the baby was in the stall with the mom, it's walking around, sound in the stall. Well, there are times maybe that's the best treatment, depending on, is this, how big, where does it go? Does it involve the joint? Is it, what is fractures? Is it a chip out the corner of the coffin bone? Is it something that goes down the middle of the coffin bone? Completely different deal.
So if they don't do something now, essentially what you're going to end up doing is let it do its thing, and then you're going to have to fix it on the other end as it matures.
If there's something to fix.
Okay.
And it might be fine. And still at this point, we don't know anything. But, as fast as that foot's growing, if that's 2 weeks into it, that chip of the bone is either already
healed up,
healed up, and because they're growing so fast, and the explanation is, look, if we do something, you're looking at, we're going to have to change it for a few weeks, like every week and a half. And so, well, I don't want to do that. And I said, well, I don't. You end up with some weird compression problems with the foot, and just restrict the bejesus out of it, and then that's detrimental. So all that needs to be thought about, and especially with these young horses, if you're going to do something, you need to get the team together. I never spoke to the vet. This is translated through the owner, and I wanted the radiographs sent to someone who looks at a massive amount of radiographs for a consult, because I don't want to be, if we're going to do something, we need to be right. I was ask her to use Doc Redden as a consult. Mm-hmm. And she immediately backed out of that. And
so the mama of this colt, what's the mama's job? Just having babies, or is this was this planned? I mean, because normally horses need to have a plan. They're not just running around.
I think the idea was for this colt to be a performance horse.
Okay.
And
it's a shame that when you say that,
maybe just it's probably just fine. I don't know, but it's the time period between at the point we had an abscess, the injury was there. Mm. It's a week to get the x-rays. It's close to a week before I saw the x-rays. And, but we got to do something, and it's kind of, this done.
So they're just shaking it off and letting it just go on to be itself?
Well, the baby was sound in the stall. And I don't know what follow-up was done.
You're not involved anymore.
Never spoke directly with the vet. And then you get into the game of telephone as to what's going on. Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick little break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the head and neck conformation of horses. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. You spent all that time and effort and money, and mostly money, and to getting a horse to be a performance horse, and, the little crack or something like that, if she was to see that, it would have been taken care of right then and there. Right. You know what I mean? But some people just go, well, we'll just see what happens. I don't understand that philosophy, but.
Well, everybody's got to pick their poison, right?
Yeah. As he sits over there and drinks his coffee. So why are we talking about head and neck conformations when we're talking about coffin bones? Or is it part of the deal or part of together?
It's just part of a horse.
Okay.
Talking about performance issues, movement issues.
Okay. Does this have to lead into the teeth from Dr. Fred?
Well, I mean, that's part of it.
Okay.
And there's a confirmation book I was looking at. The first chapter's the head and neck.
Okay. Well, I'll see if I can tie that in. You ready?
Yep.
Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. If you have a question for Mike Stine, you don't want to go on the air, that's okay. All you have to do is email him at any time at equinedynamics.com. At the very top of the page says contacts. Fill out that little form. Make sure you put a physical return address, and we'll send you out some magnets, some stickers. We got the new logo up. We got some new swag gear for you, so you can get that by going over to equinedynamics.com and filling out that form. And over on my far right side, my very own missing magnet is Mike Stine. How are you?
I'm doing good, Travis. How are you?
I'm doing well. I still have not found
the missing magnet.
The missing magnets. They're in the house somewhere. I don't know where it's at. We had family over and everything. We cleaned.
Do me a favor. Just
Sure.
sit there for a second. Breathe real deep. Close your eyes. Meditate for a second, right? And figure out the last place you look for them. Go look there, and it won't take you so long to find them. Because if you ever notice, every time you lose something, it's always, when you find
the last
place.
place.
So if you start there, it cuts the recovery time way down.
I had them in the kitchen because that's where we do the mail table and stuff, and I had them in the kitchen, and they were in a small little envelope, and I don't know if I threw the shipper's envelope away and the magnets were inside of that because they're kind of heavy, but I can't see myself doing that. But maybe in a rush because we were trying to clean the house at the same time getting ready for our family to come over, and the magnets came in about that time. So
I think I got the answer to what happened.
What happened?
The family was so excited about it, and they saw the value in them.
Right.
You know how family can
be.
be.
Big fans.
They smuggled them out, and they thought the black market value, they would make millions off those magnets.
I don't even think they know what a horse looks like. That's my side of the family. All right. So now we're going to talk about kind of a continuation on last week's show. Uh-oh, my camera just went fuzzy-eyed. There we go. Back.
It's not the camera, it's you.
I know. There we go. All right, there. Now we're back in focus. Are we in focus? There we go.
Not as focused as we ever are.
I know. So last week, this is a continuation of last week's show when we were talking about Dr. Fred, and we appreciate Dr. Fred being on the program. He was very inspirational, very educational as well, and very informative.
And I tell you, if you got tough tooth and mouth and problems, Dr. Fred's your guy.
He's not one
talk to him for us.
And he's not one of many, he's one of few.
One of very few.
And so that's Dr. Fred. And if you missed that show, go back and listen to season 13, episode 1, and check him out over there. And you'll know exactly, as soon as he starts talking, you'll know exactly, hey, this is the guy who knows what he's talking about.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to continue a little bit on the head and neck conformation of a horse and how it actually kind of deals with the stuff that Dr. Fred was talking about last week, as far as like the teeth and the bites and all that stuff. So take it from there, Mike.
Well, you've made me have to do homework to do this program because, we cover a lot of territory, and, there's things I've seen over the last 30, 40 years, and it kind of sets to the side and gets stale, and sometimes you need to refresh a bit. But I picked up one of a couple of confirmation books, and the first chapter is talking about the head and neck of the horse. And, things that have to be considered when you're even looking at a horse to buy. And all of this is going to affect, performance of your horse. It's going to affect, if you have performance problems, you're going to have unsoundness problems.
If you got a sore neck and shoulder, you're not going to be a pro football player type deal.
No. And, just a quick look at a horse. They're like with Fred, if they can't process the food correctly, that can lead to colics. It can lead to hard to get the full nutrition out of your feed.
It's funny. After last week's show, my wife always goes, and she's the one who rides. She's the one who's got the ego, and she's the one that does all the shows and everything. And she always says, how'd the show go? And I go, oh, it was pretty good. And I said, if I learn something, because I do every week, I learn something. I'm the simpleton of the show. I go in there. I said, did you know if you did this? And and she's like, yeah, the horse processed the food better when they were able to chew it and masticate it and get it down in smaller pieces. You're not wasting as much. And I said, well, I didn't know that. She's like, oh, yeah, I knew that. And I'm thinking to myself, well, it's always amazing what she already knows, or does she play the dumb game? Go, oh, yeah, I knew that.
It's working whichever way it is.
Yeah.
But no, every time I talk to Dr. Fred, when I got questions in that area, I call Dr. Fred up and always learn something from him. And he's looking at other angles and where it all ties in. But, they got to be able to process food. The other thing is a horse has to be able to see. If a horse's eyes are set or not set matching each other, you can have vision problems, which can lead to spooking. It can lead to one-sidedness. It can lead to, if a horse only sees well out of one eye, they'll tend to cock their head sometimes, and that can completely change the way a horse's way of going.
I had a teacher in high school who used to look at you like that.
Right. And, if they're not seeing well, can it affect how sure-footed or clumsy they are? Yeah, sure it can. So the horse has to, have good set eyes. A lot of people look for small ears. The ears are probably not going to affect the performance so much. There's like people, I love small ears on a horse. But I'll tell you something that they did talk about is in hot conditions, the ears dissipate heat from the body faster, having a larger eared horse. So that, I don't know how much difference a quarter inch in the ear is going to make, but it's like donkeys from the really hot areas have those huge ears. They've got to be able to get air in and out of their bodies. And this was back in 2008 when I did work with, eval work with the endurance team. And that's primarily an Arab thing. And you've got your show ring Arabs that have the real ultra refined dish face and that kind of stuff. And those were not the ones that were doing endurance and the really, really fine throat latch. Because to do endurance, the horse, you got to get air in and out of the body. The other thing is looking at your neck, the shape of the neck, where it ties in. That affects shoulder movement. A short, stubby neck, thick neck the shoulders are not going to move free enough. And, if you've got your U-necked horse, well, it's going to be hard for him to get the front end moving. If it ties in U-neck, straight shouldered, and all that, you want a horse to be a collection horse. Well, that's not where that horse is going to be able to be easily. So that all needs to be considered when you're looking at horses to purchase. And that affects, if it affects movement problems, it affects movement, it affects soundness. Too short a neck, too long a neck, the head carriage, the head, when horses change body maneuvers, like they can break into a counter, turn left, turn right. That head is is used to balance the body in making maneuvers. And they've got to be able to move the head freely. The neck should be about, you break it up into thirds, a third the neck length, 2/3 the body length. And the way the neck is arched.
Do people actually take a measuring tape and go by that, or they just kind of rule of thumb type, they look at the horse? When you say 1/3 of the body type deal.
You can do it on your computer screen. You could take a pair of wing dividers and put it on your computer screen with the sharp points of the wing dividers and push it into a holds and then rotate them and measure. Of course, your computer screen probably wouldn't like that now, would it?
Probably not.
But no, you can measure to a point. Most of it, I think, is probably visual. I'm sure somebody has a computer app out there that will break it down for you. And as far as like you're drawing your 3 circles and the size of the body and all this sort of deal.
And if it's got a horse on it, it's going to be 3 times as much.
Right.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to take one little break and let you get back to playing with your ponies. You're listening to, and you're taking pictures of Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. Whenever you're done making noises, Mike.
Okay.
Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. I got to fix that one again. Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. Don't forget, we'd love to hear from you. You can be part of the show. We broadcast every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Your voice can be heard right here in the studio. You can ask us any question about the 13 seasons of shows, over 4 years of programming here on Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. And go back through and listen to all the shows. If you have a question, just give us a little watermark, what show you listen to, and we'll answer it right here on the air. And your voice can be heard right alongside of us here in the studio. My very own answer boy over to my far hand side is Mike Stine. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, Travis?
Doing all right. Are you digging the studio here? I switched it up a little bit.
You got it going on. It just, I mean, if you put a disco ball up there, we'll be set to go.
So we kind of changed the studio up.
Flashing lights.
Yeah. What you're seeing on the YouTube channel is just a small version of what the studio looks like in real form. And it's funny, we've had guests come in the studio and they're like going, wow, you do everything out of this place? And we're like, yeah, this is what we're doing. And they're like, it looks so good. It looks so professional. So there you go.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there. All right, Mike, what did we learn today?
What did we learn today?
Talking terminology, talking about the coffin joint and why it's so important.
Well, you've got to get the coffin joint has to work correctly for a horse to move correctly. And
where is the coffin joint? I'm going to switch over to camera 6.
Coffin joint.
So we can show. Oh, I got to switch cameras here. Whoop, I'm on the wrong thing. There we go. Coffin joint.
The coffin joint is partially in the hoof capsule. And it is between the coffin bone itself, the short pastern, and the navicular bone make up the joint.
Mm-hmm. And then you can see this on YouTube channel if you're watching it. We have an overhead version or a view of the coffin joint. It's a freeze-dried leg that Mike uses for displays.
When people are talking about a center of rotation, the center of the articulation surface, they're talking about the alignment off of the coffin bone to the bottom of the hoof.
And also discussion of this X-ray that now I can switch over to the X-ray. Let me make sure we got it here. Switch over to this X-ray of a 4-month-old colt that with a possible coffin bone fracture, and as the possibility approaches to consider what you should do in treating it. So as of now, you're not working with this horse anymore, right?
Well, I never actually saw the horse.
Okay, you just saw the X-ray.
I saw the one X-ray, and that's as far as we got with it. But it was a discussion, and this baby, I hope, has no more problems, does well. Probably a fair chance of it. If you got something that's involving the articulation surface of the joint, you probably need to do something. There are plenty of people experienced in this area to consult with, and take care of it before it becomes an issue. And hopefully you never have a baby or any other horse break a coffin bone, but we've had other coffin bones broken that we talked about on the program that we dealt with,
where the wings have broken off the side.
The wings are broken off.
But this is a 4-month-old. You would think that a small fracture on a 4-month-old, it would kind of favor that or not be able. But you said the horse is in the stall with Momma.
Apparently it was really lame for about a week.
Okay.
And it's not lame in the stall with Momma. It's confined, and it's probably taking care of itself okay.
Well, hopefully that leg we won't have to worry about too much adjusting as we shoe the horse later on down the line.
Right.
And also the head and neck conformation, just a continuation discussion of Dr. Fred and the teeth and the alignment of the teeth and getting the head and neck and everything all situated.
Right. The head, neck, and jaw has to move freely. For a horse to move freely, they have to be able to process their food, they have to be able to breathe, and they have to be able to see. And the neck has to work so they can use it as a good counterbalance. And the way the neck ties into the shoulders has a direct effect on the rotation of the scapula and how much movement you get out of the front end.
All right, guys, don't forget, follow us over on YouTube. You can see the whole entire podcast in its complete form over on YouTube. Search Equine Dynamics Mike Stine, and make sure you follow him over on Facebook. Great educational material that he puts up there. He'll also put this X-ray up there as well. And if you have a question for Mike Stine, or if you want to be heard on the show, go to equinedynamics.com. At the top of the page says join the podcast, and click all the links and stuff that follow us from there. On behalf of Mike Stine over there,
have a good day. Enjoy your ponies.
my name is Travis, saying see you next week.
Don't get frostbite out there.
See you next week.
Good night, Ned.
Night, Dusty.
Good night, Ned.
Good night, Ned.